Hello, I'm Marc Cuevas and welcome to New Media Weekly. Today I have the pleasure of speaking with Marc Hustvedt, the head of strategic partnerships for Chill. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, thanks for having me.
Tell me a little bit about how you arrived at Chill.
Sure, well my background, I've been sort of in the web video trenches for a long time, a good 6-7 years now. Founded a company called Tubefilter back in 2007-ish. We were sort of a new media trade, still rocking it today with Josh and Drew over there. But really, we wanted to sort of chronicle an industry as it emerged, and much the same as you're doing, and really putting a voice to all these people who are out there, really just experimenting every day. So we'd write about, a show got a deal with MySpace or a deal with Hulu. And that was like exciting news. It would stay kind of under the radar of traditional entertainment press, but for us it was really fascinating. So we had a series of events as well as an awards show called the Streamy Awards,
Right.
And which is coming back after a little hiatus there. We're working with Dick Clark Productions on it.
September?
The date is going to be announced soon. So I actually. Yeah, I don't know if it's officially finalized yet,
Okay.
but it will be back. So anyway, that really helped me understand that we were at the beginning of something in terms of an industry. Everybody who was participating was sort of communally together. And this was before, I think, a lot of attention from the media had really started to say, okay, here's the future of entertainment.
So it was basically being documenting an emerging field from the inside out.
Yeah, I mean, we'd write about guys that couldn't even get their name in the Hollywood Reporter, but like now the Hollywood Reporter gets them. They'll be like, oh, here's Phil DeFranco's new show. They'll sort of jump on that story as well. So it really makes me like happy to feel that is, the attention is there. They've earned it over the years.
Well,
so
you basically, with Tubefilter, help create a voice and a face for the emerging.
Sure, yeah, and I mean the credit obviously is to all the people that just did it and did all of the hard work. I mean, honestly, Felicia Day probably deserves some of the most credit in terms of really being a true independent creator who then led the charge, did one of the first branded deals for a web series, still keeping the rights to it herself. I mean, she was just figuring stuff out. Had a good team around her with Kim Evey and Georgia Weiss, and they just figured stuff out. And then we would write about that, and I think a lot of people were inspired by that and learned from it. So that's why I read Tubefilter still every day.
So do I actually.
Good. I mean, I love that it exists. For me personally, I wanted to jump into an engineering problem and sort of really solve what I saw as still a problem, which was sort of filtering out the noise. Some people call it discovery. I think if you ask a consumer, do you have a discovery problem? They're like, what?
Right, they
No.
don't understand.
I got plenty of video.
So that was the onus for creating Chill.
I mean, there was a little bit of a personal story. I'd known the founder, Brian Norgard, a terrific entrepreneur. He had sold a company to Fox Interactive, which became part of MySpace. He tangentially worked with MySpace. I think his product became part of MySpace News, and it really showed him. So anyway, he was just one of these very incredibly smart. Him and Dan Gould, the other co-founder, were incredibly smart product guys, and I'd always been sort of friends with them. And once they said, we're gonna get into video, we see the opportunity is here. I'm like, well, it took you long enough. So finally, this past summer, about a year ago, they decided they were going to make the move seriously into video. So that's when we started talking more, and I said, well, I would do this, and I would do that, and then that became us working together.
Tell me about your vision, the collective vision for what Chill potentially can be and is becoming as we speak.
Where video had sort of gone and become is a lot of sort of these closed walls on the internet. And some are more open than others. I think YouTube is certainly an incredible product, but it's also a 7-year-old platform that it was built off of a certain way of which video existed about 7 years ago. So and then you've got other pockets of video, a little more on the premium side around music and Vivo, a little more on the premium side around television and movies at Hulu. And we don't even want to get into geo-blocking at this point. But either way, you have these silos of content. Consumers, for the most part, they don't have the capacity, nor are they really going to hang out in 15 different places to consume their video content. There was still this need for a way to bring the best of it to them. We always talk about that last 50 feet of discovery.
So in essence, a way to centralize all the possibilities, all the viewing possibilities.
Right, and then truly I aid in discovery. Like there probably is something awesome on Hulu right now. There's a new video that just dropped on the new Maroon 5 video. I just posted it to my Chill page because it just dropped on Vivo. But unless you were on Vivo and hanging out and you're just a diehard like music video fan, you may not have seen that. So it lets me, like on a personal level, I'm now able, we built a platform that lets you basically collect all these videos that you found from around the web. But the real power is in the social and really saying that the way we are influenced to consume entertainment historically, I mean going back hundreds of years, is we listen to those in our social graph. You say, well, what'd you think of that movie this week? Was Avengers worth it? Should I buy a ticket? All of these little informal connections, email of even emailing a YouTube video, that would often happen. You'd see, my mother would forward me these things with like 15 layers of like ladies in her college group that had watched this video. And I said, that is exactly the kind of social graph discovery that needed a product. And that's what we aim to build.
So it's built upon the time-old, thought of word of mouth, but now.
Well, word of mouth can be, you can use software to make that smarter, and you can identify who's truly influencing whom, who in your graph is a stronger tie as opposed to a weaker tie. Often, right now, the tools that are out there is if you like a video, you sort of tweet it out. You've got essentially these broadcast platforms. Facebook is an incredibly good platform. It's a little bit noisy in terms of the stream. It's not the best place to consume video, but it does have your social graph. And then the other video platforms have a few buttons to sort of take an external action. But there isn't necessarily a place where my friends can really see my consumption. No one knows what I consumed on Hulu and YouTube. I watched like 5 YouTube videos today. Do you even know what they are? But you do know what I watched on Chill. And we've made that very open and social. So you can sort of be informed by my consumption.
Since its inception, Chill has really just taken off.
It's early. I will say it's early. And we have a team, one of these like really hardcore engineering teams of like some of the smartest people I've ever worked with. And it's actually really rare that they're in video, because often like a lot of the funded video startups do not have like I would call pure engineering teams who are focused on sort of the hard problems.
Now, was that done deliberately as part of the startup planning?
I think with any startup, it's you start with, can you build the smartest team and bring them all together? And then it's about being in market and experimenting as much as possible. Because there is a history to Chill. I mean, Chill, the first version that launched last fall, was actually different than what's there today. And we were talking about this earlier. Right. That was more about a synchronous experience of watching video together in a room, a virtual room. But you and I would have to be in the room together, and I would maybe wait for your clip. You might say, you've got to see this Barack Obama doing Justin Bieber boyfriend video, sweet. So I would sit there and watch, we might have a little conversation, but then I would wait and play my clip. And that's really taxing. It's asking for a lot of our time. But
it was also very engaging. I loved the thought of the avatars in the theater and being able to engage. It was one of my favorite ideas in the beginning. I thought it was very personal in a way.
I think it is in some ways. There are issues with synchronous, and some of those get around even just scaling. What we would do these big events with like bands like Mindless Behavior, and Snoop Dogg would get in a room and start Snoop will try everything. He's a great guy. That guy's certainly jumped headfirst into new media. But you can't have a conversation with 6,000 people all in a room together. It is incredibly difficult. We did realize that people cared which videos Snoop was sharing, and they themselves wanted to be able to save and watch those later. And it was listening to those early users who said, I just want to be able to save some of these that I've found. Because of the first version, it was just you watch it, it's done. And so that was where the idea of moving to focusing on the users' profiles and building out their personal utility of saying, at the very least, this is like a DVR for what I've watched on the internet today.
It's some place where you can accumulate your experience and then make it part of the collective experience.
Yeah, exactly. And frankly, if you're not one that wants to participate socially, and you just maybe either you don't have a lot of friends online, you just don't want to have a lot of friends, or you have a little more concerns about privacy, it still has a lot of utility in that way of just being a place to organize video.
Sure.
And clear the noise up. So I've got collections on like stop motion Lego videos, which is a total like niche genre I'm really into. I've got like amazing movie montages. Today I added to my TV montage collection. There's like that Aaron Sorkin mashup where they did Sorkinisms. It's all the Aaron Sorkin he has the newsroom out now on HBO, but he reuses some of his dialogue because he writes a lot. So they matched up like West Wing and then all these other same line from lots of shows.
Marc, thank you for joining me.
Yeah, it was a pleasure. Thank you.
I'm Marc Cuevas. This is New Media Weekly. Thank you.